Hey guys, it's Myiesha, Beauty Director here at Sephora, and you guys always ask about my blue shadow in particular. It's something that I wear quite often. It's sort of my go-to when I want to have really cool eye makeup on. So this is a response to you guys to show you exactly how I get this look. So for this look, I'll be using one of my favorite palettes. You guys ask about this all the time. I have most of the Pat McGrath palettes just because I feel like they're just very high quality and so beautiful. So this is the Pat McGrath Labs Mothership 3 palette, and this is Subversive. So the color I use the most is Blitz Amethyst. It looks like it's just blue, but it actually has this pinky sort of purple blue shift, which is why I love Pat McGrath. She also has another palette that has Blitz Emerald in it, and the emerald actually shifts to purple. So I just love how multifaceted all of her colors are in her palettes, and you also get some really nice neutrals as well to complete the look. So anytime I do a smoky eye or any kind of vibrant eye, I always use a base, and your base matters. Different colors give you different effects. So these are the Sephora Collection Colorful Shadow and Liner pencils. This color right here is turquoise, which is kind of like an icy kind of blue, and this is called My Boyfriend's Jeans, which is a matte sort of royal blue. So if you look on the back of my hand here, I have some swatches just to show you what different color bases will look like depending on what you do. So this is the Blitz Amethyst from the palette. So if you put it over turquoise, it's going to be brighter, more vibrant because the color is more vibrant. If you want more of the blue to come out versus more of the purple, you can use something that's just straight up blue. This is the My Boyfriend's Jeans. This is just a black eyeliner, so it has more of like a smoky kind of sultry effect. And then if you just use it with like maybe like an Urban Decay primer potion, something very neutral and skin-like, you'll just get this really beautiful sort of wash of color, and it'll be true to form. So you can use different bases to get totally different looks from your shadow, especially Pat McGrath because it's so vibrant and it just kind of like shows different colors depending on what you do to it. So I'm going to be using the turquoise shade, and you can use a cream shadow brush. I'm just using sort of a larger shadow brush. This is the number 14 brush right here. And a lot of people I find when I'm teaching them how to use these, they start in the middle of their eyelid and then they try to blend up and down. What you want to do is sort of start at the base and work your way up. That way you only have to blend the top. You only need to blend the edges. So just go ahead and work your way up to your crease. And when you blend, it's going to sort of fade out a little bit or grow. So starting smaller is really nice because you have a little bit more control. So I'm just taking this shadow brush and kind of blending that edge out there. If you've maybe laid it on a little heavy on the lid, you can kind of do a few sweeps on the lid so it's not chunky. But this formula is pretty smooth. I don't really ever have that problem. So I'm just blending the edge out because this is sort of like the undergarment to the outfit. If this isn't blended or if it has a sharp line in it, your eyeshadow is going to have a sharp line in it. So I would say look-wise, this is probably the most important step, getting this right. So I'd say once you have your first base down where it's nice and blended to your liking, then you can go on if you want and put a second coat and just kind of fill in any areas where there may be little gaps where you can see your skin, or you just need a little bit more product. If I wanted this to be a little bit sultrier, maybe if I was wearing a black dress or something, I could just do black, or even brown is really pretty with these shadows if you don't want them to be too vibrant. I just love how vibrant it is, so using this color just kind of helps. Okay, so it's gradually sort of going up. I can't see any harsh lines, but I can see the shape that I want. I can go up a little higher with the actual powder eyeshadow, but this is a good start to my base. Now I'm going to do the other side, same thing. Applying it as if it were eyeliner at the lash line first, and then working my way up. These are so versatile. I have pretty much every color. They come in neutrals too. They're just really useful. And since they're waterproof, it's going to make whatever I put on top of it, my shadow, my liner, and everything, super waterproof as well. So I'll do a second layer just to make it really opaque. That's up to you. If you want to let skin show through, you can totally do that. So this is totally optional, but if you want more dimension, once you put this like very glittery, shimmery shadow on top, you can use more than one jumbo pencil or these shadow and liner pencils from Sephora Collection. So I can put a little bit of this royal blue kind of here, kind of how you would put powder shadow on that outer corner, and just kind of dab. I like to put the shimmery ones down like the turquoise before I put any matte ones down because they're just way easier to blend, especially if I'm doing something complicated or maybe if you're a beginner using cream shadows. So you can see this kind of adds a little bit of like an ombre effect. So when I put my shadow on, it's gonna look like it's super multidimensional, even more than it would if I just, you know, had no base on. But it just kind of helps that blend, and it looks like I put in a lot of work when really I didn't really do much. So I'm just tapping that on. If maybe when you did this darker color, you maybe went in a little bit too high up or too far in, you can just take a little bit of that shimmery one. And this is true for powder shadows as well. Shimmer is always easier. That's why everyone's first eyeshadow palette is always something super shimmery, just because it's very easy to manipulate. So you can just tap a little bit of that original color on. And it doesn't matter that I didn't go all the way down to my lash line because I'm definitely going to tight line with some black liner. Okay, so I like to make sure when I do a smoky eye that I do a little bit of liner before and then after to sort of finish it up, just because I feel like it's kind of sandwiched in between. Because my pet peeve is when someone has a really dark smoky eye on and the liner is kind of falling off a little bit or doesn't look as black as it should. So I find putting it on before and after works for me. I'm going to be using this Urban Decay 24/7 Glide On Eye Pencil in Perversion. You see me use this quite a bit. It's probably one of my favorite black eyeliners. So I'm going to go in with this Pro Shader number 18 brush. It's really great for detail work in the corners of your eye. Really great to blend, to do smoky liner, or even sometimes I do my brow powder with this brush. It's very multifunctional. So I'm going to go ahead and put some liner on. I'm going to be adding some liquid, so I'm just going to tight line here. When you wear a smoky eye, I would say one of the most important parts is making sure the lash line is really nice and defined. So you just want to get in there. If you're blonde, you want to make sure the roots of your lashes are dark. You can do this with a liner versus a mascara. I think it's a little bit easier. So you can smudge with your brush, or if you're like me, I kind of just use my ring finger for that outer corner. And I like my liner to kind of get on the bottom too. So we're going to use that transferring that I just did as a blessing and kind of go on the bottom because I want it to be smoky down there too. Again, my ring finger. I feel like it blends perfectly. Same thing on the other side. You can go a little thicker with your liner. I like to stay pretty close to my lash line because I want the shadow to be the star of the show. I don't want to do a bunch of really cool shadow and then fill up half my lid with eyeliner. I just want it to define and darken my lash line. Or if you have hooded eyes, you shouldn't really put a thick liner on because you're going to see all liner, no shadow. So on the bottom, little goes a long way. You guys saw how that little tiny bit that transferred did my entire eye. So just need a little bit, smudge it. And I'll decide later if I want to put liner in the waterline. It tends to make my eyes look a little bit smaller, but I might do that today if I like that look. So now I'm going to move on to applying the shadow. Whatever brush you use is totally fine. I have two different ones here. This is the just regular shadow brush that I use to apply and blend my cream shadow. This is a packing brush right here. So this is the number 13 packing shadow. It's a little smaller, a little denser, so it's really good for glitter or inner corners, things like that. I like to start with a bigger brush and just kind of go to a smaller one. Whatever you want to do. You can even apply this with your fingers, but my nails are kind of long, so I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to go into Blitz Amethyst and just pick a decent amount up, and I'm just going to lay it on my lid. So the reason why I did all that cream shadow and took my time and made sure I was nice and blended is because my eyeshadow was going to be as easy as just tapping it on. And it's gonna look like I have like a couple different colors on because I have that black underneath, that sort of royal blue kind of coming up, and it's lighter on my lid. So the way you lay down your creams, the better you get at them. You're just gonna notice that your shadow has a lot of dimension without a lot of work with your powder shadows. So I'm just gonna tap that on, slightly higher than my crease. And all I have in my crease is just whatever bronzer that was left over on my brush. I just kind of dusted over my crease. So I'm taking this sort of blending brush right here. This is the tapered crease. There's a few different blending brushes that we have, and it has no product on it. And I'm just going in and just blending the crease. I'm not blending over my eyelid because there's really no need to do that. You just want to blend where your shadow and the skin meets. So just going back and forth until it just kind of like fades away. Okay, so same thing over here. You don't want to do any rubbing of your shadow with glitter especially. You just want to press your shadow on. If you go to press your shadow on and it doesn't adhere, your eyelids are just probably too dry. So use a primer or use an eye cream before, but it should just like lock right onto your eyelid. Just going over the crease. Very controlled, especially with blue. I feel like it gets muddy if you do a little bit too much. So we're going to go in with a little bit of shimmery brown. If you like it at this point, it should have some dimension already. That's really beautiful. You can stop here. I'm going to go in with Lazarus, and this is like a shimmery brown. If you have fairer skin, you might want to go in with the Skin Show color, which is a little bit more beigey champagne-y. And when I wear blue, I like to sort of just let the blue be the star of the show. I don't like to add a lot of crease and other things. I'm just being very precise and just adding a teeny bit in that crease there. And shadows are very pigmented, so you don't need much on your brush. If you needed a little bit of blend, maybe you wanted something that was a bit lighter, you can go in with Skin Show, which is a beautiful highlighter if you want to have a little multi-purpose with this palette, and just kind of pop it in that inner corner. With blue shadow, I feel like sometimes if you are blending and maybe it gets a little bit messy, it can give you dark circles because the blue kind of like transfers in here. So make sure you clean up with a little concealer if it's starting to look a little zombie-ish or anything like that, or you feel like you have some dark circles. You just clean it up right in there once you're done and you're good to go. I also want to take that same Pro Shader brush and just tap a little bit of that shadow underneath, just to make everything cohesive all the way around. Because I have the liner on the bottom, I don't have to be very precise with it. It just kind of sticks like double-sided tape. I don't have to do too much. So I'm going to go in with some mascara. I would say when you're doing an eye look and you're not quite sure if it's done or you like it, just throw on some mascara and it'll just sort of look better to you, and you probably know exactly where to add your little finishing touches. So I'll be using the Lancome Monsieur Big mascara, and this is in black. And I have kind of long lashes, but they're really fine and sort of brown. So I like how this formula kind of grabs them and makes them a lot thicker. So I like to go from underneath as well as on top. I feel like it gives me more volume. And I'll be putting some falsies on, but I always put mascara on before. It kind of has a shelf effect. When you have mascara on, your lashes are a little bit more substantial, so your falsies have something to actually sit on. And it also helps to just make your natural lashes look nice and black. Sometimes I kind of roll it like a round brush to kind of get a lot of product on the lashes. So I'm going to put some mascara on the bottom, but I think I want to do some liner in the waterline. It's easier just to do it before I put mascara on the bottom. So I'm just going to go in and put a little bit of this in my waterline just to make it a little bit cooler looking. So I'm just putting a little mascara on the bottom just so everything looks cohesive. I don't really like my bottom lashes to be too thick, just as long as they're dark and kind of spiky. So I'm just going to throw on some lashes. This is optional. I just feel like with a smoky eye, I need that little extra oomph of lashes, and I wear lashes almost every day when I have my work makeup on. And it also adds a bit of flare on the end too, since the smoky eye is so round, and I find that just sort of evens out my facial features a bit. So I'm using Sephora Collection false eyelashes in Demure. These are very popular in store. I find that most people kind of gravitate towards these when they're getting their makeup done for a special occasion and they want some drama. What I like about them is they flare on the outer corners. I need a good flare for my eye shape, and they're also a little less dense in the inner corner. So I've done all this shadow work and I've done all this blending, and the shadow's beautiful and shimmery, but if I put a giant lash on that's very big from the inner corner, I'm just gonna cover it all up. I have a very old lash video where I kind of explain the differences between different lash shapes and what you want to do that you can totally look up, where I go very in depth, but I like these for that reason. So I'll be right back. I'm going to apply these off camera because I can do it in 2 seconds. If you want to learn more, I have a few lash videos on the channel. Just go ahead and search on our channel. I have a lash 101. I show you how to cut up some lashes and make some new ones, which ones to choose versus other ones for different looks. So I go pretty in depth with that. So the lashes definitely, in my opinion, just sort of round out the look and give it a very elevated feel. And I just love the flare on them. I almost thought about doing a wing liner, but with the lashes, it kind of mimics that shape. So I'm good. So there you go. This is my signature sort of glittery eyeshadow look. You can do this with pretty much any color in the palette, or if you're going somewhere and you don't have time to buy a new outfit, just put on a really fierce eye and it feels like a new outfit. That's sort of a makeup artist, makeup wearer trick. So if you have any questions, as always, ask below. That's how we get more content, and we'll get some more response videos for you guys. And as always, please subscribe to our channel. We love hearing from you guys, and we want you to see all of our content that we put out for you. And I'll see you next time, guys. Bye.